Um, just talking a little bit about Emmanuel Acho's comments, about Caleb Williams, because he said, with the college playoff not in the sights of USC, likely not a chance they're going, and and Caleb Williams kind of being, I guess he assumed that he's out of the Heisman race because of that. He should consider, because of the risk and reward, right? Consider not playing in a bowl game. I'm kind of confused by the statement. Is he saying not play anymore? Or when does that happen? And that's a good question, because it's been coming up with players that are, got a chance to be a top 10 pick, right? But I could tell you my perspective. It's hard because what the college football playoffs, the effect of it, right? It used to be, hey, you went to the bowl game, that bowl was your gift for how played the whole season. And yeah, you had a national championship game, but the college football playoff, I think, has changed things as far as what postseason is to a college football player. So
Yeah,
that's something that's
I,
difficult.
yeah, I agree, and I probably sit on most issues. I sit on the fence on things because I've been on both sides of it, but I've literally been on both sides of this one. And you can
Yes.
remember, what happened to me in 1994.
Yes.
I'm ready
Hmm.
to be a first round draft pick,
Yes.
first or second round. A guy that I played in the backfield with, I was rated ahead of him. He got
Right.
drafted in the first round,
Right.
and five other running backs got drafted in the first round because I had
Right.
that field fracture at Vanderbilt. And
Yes.
so when I saw this topic, I I think it's about what your goals are, what I think your family situation comes in.
Right.
Because had I had to do that all over again, I would have said I would have shut it down,
Right.
because I needed that. Um, Whereas I look at my kid now, who's playing at Ohio State, and he's in a different situation because of what I've been able to accomplish through football and business. We're in a
Yes.
different situation. So to me, my answer would be it depends on what your end goal was when you got there. If your
Yeah.
end goal was to be a first round draft pick, top 10 pick, then you have to protect your end goal because those coaches, Lincoln Riley has shown you who he is. He left Oklahoma,
Hmm.
high and dry to better his situation and do what was best for him and make a business move.
Right.
Now, the other part of that is, your teammates. And if
Right.
Caleb Williams was to sit it down, they have no chance. So you have to weigh that. But at the end of it, little bro, I mean, if I had to do it all over again in my situation, I
Right.
I I, I would have packed it up. I should have packed. If I knew what I knew
Double
now,
A. I'm gonna say this.
I would have packed it
I'm
up.
gonna say this. And this is what I believe. I believe you would have played because you would have done what you intended on doing. Hey, best
Right,
decision. I don't know. You're probably
right,
right. You know better than I do with your situation, right?
right,
But knowing you, and I believe you do what you intend on doing.
right,
Whatever you got, like if that's what you believe, because you're right. Coaches do what's best for them. Now these head coaches they jump ship, they do things right, and I understand that. And I'm speaking for the side of the players, but there's
right,
something that's lost a little bit. I think, you know, on the mental side and the emotional side for a player that does what he don't want to do. It's that
yeah,
same
yeah,
thing like a junior year. I've had guys that left as juniors and guys that stayed. It always
right,
starts with the conversation of, are you ready to do that? And what do you want to do?
right.
Because if you feel like you want to leave early or you feel like you don't want to play in that game, then you should do what's best, right? What you feel,
Yeah,
Um,
but what about the season part? Like
right.
what I took from it, I didn't know if he was talking about just the playoff or the bowl game, or was
That's
he
the
talking
thing that
about
was open ended.
shutting it
Yeah.
down now? Because if you shut it down now, the impact of your players,
Right.
the other guys that you came in with your class, the guys you've led, the guys that have followed you at the quarterback
Yeah.
position, that's a little
Right.
different,
You
man.
ain't
So
no
I
running back
yeah,
linebacker.
right.
You a
You the
quarterback,
guy.
and
You
guys
the face
ain't
of the
getting
program.
right, and the ball touch your hands every time. So that
And we
totally
helped you get
changed
there.
things.
And we're the
You know,
guys that helped you get there because you didn't throw and catch the ball. You didn't
right?
block for you to throw the ball. So it's a real difficult, man.
It
It's
is
difficult, and I think we both, because of you as a coach, you as a
right,
player, you have a son that's going to play college football. Like, I
right.
think we see it from so many different
You right.
different different angles But you're right. 19-year-old, 20-year-old Aaron, double A, I would have
You
played.
playing.
I would have played.
You
Yeah, I sit
playing.
here. Yeah, I'm
You
playing.
playing.
I'm,
And
yeah,
that's the hard thing about it. It's like, what do you feel? Like
yeah,
I remember Dalvin. We go in a bowl game, and we going through practice talking about Dalvin Cook, and I'm in Florida State, and I just looked over at him one day. I said, "Man, you ain't thinking about doing." He was like, "Nah, coach, I ain't. I'm gonna play whenever the ball is out there on the football field. That man was gonna play. I don't care
right,
if it was
right.
like sandlocked.
Yeah,
That man was gonna go out there and play with some kids, be trying to stiff arm and run through people.
yeah,
Just different, right? I'm not saying it's good or bad. On the flip side of it, I don't think McCafferty played right.
right.
He got to the ball and he was like, "Nah, it's just different people and what they intend on doing, right?"
Yeah.
You got to
And
know the
here's
people and know who they are and what they intend on doing.
and that's what I say. Like, what are your goals? Are who are you deep down? Because
Right.
the other thing I think is he's starting to get some guidance that may not make him accepted into locker rooms. He's talking about getting ownership.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
you hadn't taken a snap in the NFL, and you want ownership. That's that Russell
Right.
uh,
Right.
Russell won the the parking spot and the
Yes.
for the Broncos. He Russell Wilson he won
Yes.
the parking spot and the coach's time and a dedicated film guy and stuff like that. You just
Yeah.
when you're the man and everything's clicking, yeah, that might work. But when you're
But you
not the
got to be
man,
careful, man. You got to get
yes
accepted by
sir,
them guys in the locker room.
yes
And the
sir,
quarterback got to be a tough guy.
you got to be a
We
tough
know
guy.
when guys ain't tough. I mean, and you the
You know it.
quarterback, man. You run a risk, man. You run a risk, and these
You run.
NFL teams pay attention to it. So, you
Yeah,
know, I'm I'm okay with Emmanuel Acho. Some of his statements get on my nerves. This is a
yeah,
good argument. This is a good question to bring up. You know, I think it comes down. I think we're both saying same thing. Your perspective, even better than mine, you know, is you've been through this, and I think it comes down to the young man and what he thinks is the best thing, and his family. You know,
yeah,
what's the best situation for them, and they got to talk. But he's got to be right with that.
yeah.
Because if he ain't right with it, you carry that with you. So
You carry that with you, and you may carry it to that next level with you.
right,
That when things get tough or things get murky, so to
yeah,
speak. What kind of guy, what kind of guy are you? But
right,
it's worked out for some guys too. I mean,
yeah,
it was an injury, but Jackson Smith and Jigba, he sat out the whole
right.
year because he couldn't get his
Mm.
hamstring right, and he
Yeah,
still won the 11th pick, and he's having a hell of a year. So
right.
um, it's just man, it's so. I just don't think you can paint that with a broad stroke
You
because
can't. You can't.
ultimately the competitor wants to play, but the person, like I said, when I can think about it in hindsight,
Right.
yeah, you probably make a better decision. But I wouldn't even. I just me personally, I wasn't even thinking about that
Right.
or a combine or
Yeah.
anything like that. I was just like see ball, get ball, go
Yeah.
get some
And it was a
yards.
different time, but that's a
Yeah,
that's a strong, that's a strong statement. And that your perspective is key in this whole thing. So, you know, believe in Tennessee, we always gonna answer the hard ones, the tough questions, and if you guys have any questions out there about what we talked about, please, hit us up and we'll have an email where you can send questions in. So excited about it, man. But appreciate your perspective, Double A, as always, and we'll keep answering these tough questions.